Nicholas Blanchard and the Augusta Board of Education met in federal court today for a preliminary injunction hearing. Blanchard is suing the school board for court fees and nominal damages for what he calls a violation of his First Amendment right to speech. His lawyer cited instances where the board chair cut his time without giving a specific reason. The attorney for the board says Blanchard's time was cut due to abusive or vulgar speech, which they say is clearly laid out in their meeting policy. They also say the law does not require, quote, perfect clarity in what is and what isn't abusive or vulgar speech, and requires a game time decision from the chair. The judge questioned who is in charge of determining what is reasonable speech and whether the board's policy is neutral. Blanchard and his team worry that silencing his speech could have a chilling effect for other speakers.
We at IFS are committed to defending the rights of people for right to speak all over, and are optimistic that this case will defend my client, Mr. Blanchard's speech well.
The attorney for the board and board members did not speak with reporters after leaving court today. Both sides agree some speech should be restricted at the meetings, but the court will decide whether the board was correct in the case of Blanchard's speech. The judge will rule later on Blanchard's request for a temporary injunction to be able to speak at board meetings until the case is decided. The judge did not give her decision on that today.